2 rides enter, 1 ride comes out alive. That's right. You're going to vote in the cards, and the winner will continue on while the loser gets deconstructed officially by Disney. Destroyed, wiped off the face of the earth.
That's like some heavy power.
Yeah, I pulled some strings and called in some favors, and this series now has more weight than anything I've ever done before. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Disney World versus Disneyland.
I can't.
Disney World versus Disneyland.
Sure.
We can't do this if you don't do your part.
Right. Wait, which way did you say?
Disney World versus Disneyland.
Disneyland versus Disney World.
There you go. It's the series in which we take 2 attractions, one from Disney World, one from Disneyland, as the name implies, and we pit them together head to head, talk about how they're the same, how they're different, which one we like more, and then we throw that question over to you guys so you can tell us how we're wrong. And based on multiple subscriber suggestions this week, we're going to be comparing Expedition Everest over in the Animal Kingdom in Walt Disney World to the Matterhorn bobsleds over in Disneyland. And this one, I think, is going to be very interesting because we have put 0 discussion into this. Zero discussion into it.
We're ill-prepared.
We decided this about 90 seconds ago. So let's start off by... How about since... Oh, geez, falling apart here. Let's start with you. Since you've been recently, you were just over in Disney World.
Yeah.
Did you skip Animal Kingdom?
I did.
Oh, well, actually. You can still talk about Expedition Everest. Go for it.
Of course I can. So Everest is, I guess you could say, the 4th mountain, right? It's considered a mountain, even though it's in a different park. And you are in Nepal. At least that's the setting of like when you walk through the queue. You are in Nepal and you're going up to Everest and you're learning about the legend of the Yeti as you're walking through the queue. And they're getting you all set up for that. And then you get on like this train that's supposed to be taking you up through the mountain. And then all hell breaks loose and the Yeti's ripping tracks and making you go backwards and his shadow's up on the wall and all that crazy stuff.
It's a roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster.
With a lot of Yeti in it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a super long coaster, but it's very interesting in the way it's done. There's a lot of like pauses to like kind of further story, which I can't really say I've ever been on a roller coaster with much of a story before Everest. But yeah, it's a roller coaster.
Just put that on the pamphlet, Christine Malgrave. It's a roller coaster. I think what's notable about it, obviously, it has a really gorgeous queue, a long, awesome queue.
That you miss it if you fast pass.
Yeah, it's like one of the few rides where, like, if you have the time to kill, you just want to skip this fast pass so you could go through that queue. It has that unique, element where it stops and goes backwards. It has the massive animatronic Yeti, which is currently not moving, but will hopefully...
Disco Yeti.
Yeah, it's Disco Yeti. Maybe one day they'll finally get around to fixing it, and then we'll have the Yeti moving again.
Well, you know what the story is there, right? I mean, you know what they have to do. Like, they basically have to shut down the whole ride.
Yeah, they're going to have to, like, take it apart.
So basically. I think they pretty much have to wait until Everest... like
Avatar Land.
Yes, Avatar Land will shift the attention, and then I'm sure they'll have some time to shut down Everest and fix the Yeti.
Which, I mean, is to say the ride's still really great without the Yeti moving. It's still a fun roller coaster. It's beautifully themed. Totally. On the flip side of that, you have the Matterhorn bobsleds in Disneyland. It is also a roller coaster based on a mountain. It's based on another real mountain, the Matterhorn, as opposed to Mount Everest. There's also a Yeti involved. It is very similar in a lot of regards. That said, it is a lot... How should I put this? It is tame in design, not in experience.
No.
Right. The track is...
Please tell me you're going to have those moments in this video.
The track is a lot smaller. It's a lot less extreme, yet because it is not only the oldest like roller coaster in the Disney parks, it is also the world's first steel tube roller coaster. It is very bumpy and shaky, and it is sort of a rough ride.
The Matterhorn is frightening in a different way than Everest.
Right.
That Everest is frightening in the kind of thrill ride way that you expect, where the Matterhorn is so bumpy that I slightly feared for my life at some points, especially during the turns.
It has that, I like to call that old school charm.
Right.
It's got some old school charm.
I would like to point out that I do also like how they do the Yeti in the ride. There's actually some really cool animations and stuff that they're definitely different. They're a little bit more fun and less scary, I think, than Everest. But yeah, I really like the way that was done. I like when you kind of come out at the end that there's like that little spritz of water. Like you can
which is interesting because it's both functional and it's like it serves as a way of cooling off the brakes that are used on the attraction. But you go into like this little pool of water and it splashes. The queue is pretty much non-existent.
Yeah.
But that's like a lot of Disneyland or an original Disneyland. They just didn't have the space for these like elaborate, beautiful queues. So it just sort of wraps around the outside and then has this sort of back and forth. Probably one of the few rides that reminds me most of like just your typical theme park, like or attraction or, you know, whatever. So, I mean, as far as going into the detail of the experience, they're very similar yet very different. It's weird because on paper they're almost exactly the same, but when you actually ride both of them, they're just so wildly different.
Yeah.
And so I guess what that really leaves is the question of which one do you like more and why?
I'm gonna say I like Everest more. And granted, I think it has a bit of like it's almost unfair because it was made like so many years later, and obviously as a coaster itself, it's gonna run smoother and be a little bit more interesting.
More space too. Like there's just less space to work with the Matterhorn.
Yeah, like the mountain itself in Everest is just huge. That's not to say the Matterhorn isn't. I think it was really cool how you could see it across the park and stuff. But you know, Everest obviously had more space to build. I like the mechanics of going backwards and like the switching tracks.
One of the first times I genuinely screamed on a roller coaster was because I was lucky enough to ride it when the Yeti was in A mode and swung his arm. Yeah. And they use perspective so well because you go into this cavern and it's this small little Yeti in the distance. And then by the time you get to him, like the Yeti's arm was bigger than me. Yeah. And so it caught me completely off guard. Yeah. Made me scream my pants off.
And then I feel like Matterhorn just gets minus points from me because I'm sorry.
You hated it. You were not happy with the Matterhorn.
I'm a big coaster person. I love them. And I love like old school coasters. Like I've ridden the Cyclone in Coney Island, and that's scary too. But this is like, it beat me up. Like I got off that ride like feeling like I needed to go to a chiropractor, and I did not love that feeling. So it kind of got some
I am in the opposite boat. I put my point to the Matterhorn. And the reason why is because I'm not gonna like pretend that it's somehow a better attraction. Like obviously, like everything you just said, Everest is bigger, it's smoother, it's newer. It's unfair almost to put these two together because they've got like half a century between them in when they were built. But I think overall as like an experience, I like the Matterhorn better because it's just got like such a rich history, like more so not even compared to Everest but on its own, from the fact that it is the first steel tube coaster in the world, that you know it used to be an attraction where another attraction went through it, which was like the little buckets, the Skyway buckets. The reference to Frank Wells, which I don't think is there anymore, but there used to be a reference to Frank Wells. The idea that back when that opened, they actually had mountain climbers climbing up the mountain throughout the day.
I was reading about that.
And then just to the fact that there's a actual basketball court at the top of the mountain inside.
Really?
Yeah, there's it's a little half court with a little basketball hoop that cast members could go up and play around with. I don't know if they can still access it, but it's up there. Yeah. And like just cool stuff like that who knows, maybe there's something awesome in Everest and nobody knows yet. Because, you know, they constructed, oh no, that's Tree of Life. They use the oil rig. I'm just thinking, like, what if there was like a water slide in Everest? That would be awesome. That would make no sense whatsoever.
To, What's the
Just
water
right in the water. Oh, what? Cali River Rapids?
Yeah.
That's the most dangerous idea ever.
It slides you off and into one of the seats, and then you just
And
go
what
on
if you
Cali
miss?
River.
What if you miss and you're just in the river now and you've got these massive boats ready to crush you?
Yeah. I guess.
That's where all the interns go. The ones who make it out alive, you get a job. Everyone else, sorry. Well, there you have it. We've weighed in on Expedition Everest as well as the Matterhorn bobsled. Two very similar rides, very different rides. I like one, she likes the other. Which one do you like? Let us know in the comments below, or you can let us know on Twitter. I'm at Rob Plays. Christine?
I'm at Ivy Winter YT.
We can watch now, just because you've come back from your solo trip, about 1,500 solo videos, I'm hoping.
No, not even close.
Enough to hold us over to February when we get to go back again?
I wish. Maybe that means I need to do another trip.
Another trip, yep. All right. And where can they find all of that?
That is on my channel, Ivy Winter.
There you go. And if you have an idea for what you want to see us, pit against each other next, let us know in the comments below as well. And there should be a link in the description to the full playlist so you can see we've done Tower of Terror. We just recently did Indiana Jones and Dinosaur and a bunch of other things. I want to thank you all for watching. Whatever you're doing, make the most of it because it makes it that much better. And I hope to see you all next time for Disney World versus Disneyland.
You can't do it that way. I don't need that much of a handicap.
Disney World versus Disneyland?
Disneyland versus Disney World.
There you go. Bye.